right on time, 6:02 Eastern. Alicia Ocasio played in this rivalry. There's a lot of connections between these two programs. As Vandergrift taps this foul, we'll get to that as this game rolls along. We showed you Stephanie Van Brakel, pro throw, longtime pitching coach with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now in the Florida dugout, Kenley Cahalan was an Alabama Crimson Tide for 2 years at shortstop, now starting at third for the Gators.
And these are the kind of rivalries that you come to college for. I was talking to Coach Kayla Bro now, and I told her when I was playing, I always knew that Alabama was going to be a gritty game. They could have been last in the SEC, which they weren't, but I always knew it was going to be a tough game and a tough matchup. A lot of hype surrounding this series.
And there's a legend in his own right, five-time SEC Coach of the Year. These two programs have been at the top of the SEC often. Vandegrift takes in the dirt. Let's talk about one of the great stories, Alicia, in the SEC. That's Audrey Vandegrift, the freshman from Bogart, Georgia, leads his team in just about every statistical category. And that walk-off on Monday night, 46 stolen bases. Stays alive here. That's a nation lead.
Well, I talked about it in the open. You know her for her speed. You see it there, 46. Gives Kendra Falby a run for her money for sure, but the walk-off home run is, I think, leaving the softball world in shambles.
That's lined off the glove of Cahalan into left field, base hit. So look out here. Vandegrift most likely will look to take off. And one of the great matchups within this series this weekend will be Jocelyn Erickson against Audrey Vandegrift on the base paths.
And Vandegrift just does a tremendous job, can hit multiple pitches well throughout the zone. We saw her go oppo with an inside-out home run. Just has a great amount of barrel control, takes that pitch and just drives it to left center.
Here's Callie Hevlin now on a 4-game hit streak, hitting .375, two of the best averages at the top of this lineup. Vandegrift came in hitting .430. And there's Erickson, that matchup in stolen bases in Bama history.
In real time, Kyle, it looked like the ball beat Vandegrift, and watching this back, it definitely did. So I think just Comia looking at Vandegrift a little bit more than watching the ball just allowed that ball to get away from her.
And of note, it's the freshman Gabby Comia seeing the start at shortstop, mixing things up, not the veteran Riley Holtorf, who's the designated player in this game. The next to Hevlin is outside. Meanwhile, Rothrock did not have a good series over the weekend against Ole Miss. Things have just not been right since she's come back from injury. The radar gun looks the same, but the spin rate, just trying to get that back to normal. As Hevlin gets called back and the count is full. Last 3 SEC starts for Rothrock, so that's the last 12 innings. 15 earned runs, 8 walks to 11 strikeouts, has hit 6 batters. And a big early payoff, just low. So a single and a full count walk here to Hevlin brings in Brooke Elstad as the Tide look to get some first inning production here.
And Hevlin leads her team in walks, has a tremendous eye, just adding another one to her collection.
Brings in now Brooke Elstad, lays down a bunt. Cahalan charges in. Williams late to cover, it's thrown away. This could bring in 2 as Vandegrift scores. Coming around third is Hevlin, and the throw is cut off. 2 runs are in as that throw went errant. Williams was late to cover at first, and the Tide take a 2-0 lead.
That's why it's so important to be able to keep that leadoff runner off the bases. And granted, Vandegrift with a great hit. Got to be able to get that runner out at second, a walk, and then a great bunt by Elstad here. A few miscues on defense, allowing Alabama to take full advantage of the Florida Gators.
And you look at that situation, Alicia, so Cahalan at that moment had to throw to an empty target. Williams wasn't quite at the bag yet. Makes it a little bit of a tougher throw. And you saw Shoemaker backing it up. It will go down as an error, an E5 on Kenley Cahalan against her old team. The Tide have a 2-0 lead here for Abby Dukeshire. Takes strike one. You know what's interesting about both of these teams, fielding percentage not as good as we've seen in years past. That caught a piece of Dukeshire on the armor. So 7th hit by pitch for Rothrock in conference play, and it's now 1st and 2nd, still nobody out.
This rise ball just gets a piece of Dukeshire. Almost looks like she took her hand off the bat a little bit. That's me, I'm challenging that.
Brings in now Riley Valentine. That stays fair. Williams again late to cover. Had to go basket style to make the catch. And Valentine, her 3rd successful sacrifice. A little bit of small ball in the middle of the lineup from the Tide catcher. Now 2nd and 3rd here with one out for Marley Giles.
Alabama just using all their tools in the toolbox, their speed, their small ball, taking full advantage of the movement that's happening right now when you have runners in different parts of the field. I think Neil Williams was a little bit late to cover because you have so much speed on the bases. You got to be able to not only cover second if you want to turn a double play, but be able to go back to first base in the case of a bunt. So sometimes it can be challenging to play second base, but Mia's got to be able to get there in time to get those outs.
Well, it's clear Alabama's going to put the pressure on this infield. .969 fielding percentage for the Gators this year, just 7th in the league. That's line past Walsh into right field. That'll bring in one. They'll hold up Dukeshire at 3rd. On the throw, thinking about heading towards 2nd is Giles, but stays put. With a ribby single, and the Tide take a 3-0 lead here in the 1st.
Giles just another pitch lift over the heart of the plate, and she just drives it oppo taco in the 3-4 hole. Alabama's looking really comfortable in this 1st inning, making it look easy, putting some numbers on the board, and Rothrock's got to do a little bit better job. And I think it's a perfect time for Jocelyn Erickson to come and call timeout to kind of reset the defense in Rothrock. Miscues are non-characteristic of the Florida Gators. So in order to keep Alabama at bay, who's hot right now, coming off a lot of momentum from that OU walk-off slam by Vandegrift and 2 wins under their belt, got to be able to control their heartbeats and put it to rest, get back in the dugout. There's a lot of game left.
Almost a carbon copy to what we saw on Friday night for Keegan Rothrock as Lauren Johnson stands in, eyes a strike. Rothrock had given up 3 runs before she recorded an out on Friday night. The Gators had picked her up offensively in a comeback win. They scored 4 runs the next frame. Johnson swings through it, and it's 0-2. But for an Alabama offense that has had a complete renaissance from last year, they had their worst team batting average in program history. A season that they still went to the World Series for a 2nd straight year. Johnson flares this over 3rd. That'll drop down for a base hit. Coming in to score is Dukeshire. 1st to 3rd, Giles. The throw is late. It is now 4-0 Alabama. Lauren Johnson, RBI 18 on the year, down to 2nd on the throw.
We talked about Alabama just being extremely comfortable, seeing Rothrock really well, and you know this because she took a pitch on the inner part of the plate, almost on the chalk, and drove it to the left field foul line, going against her scouting report and going with the pitch. I mean, they're seeing her extremely well, Kyle, and Rothrock's got to be able to spin the ball just a little bit better, but that was a really good pitch. She just took advantage of it.
Salem Hawkins now hits, count 0-2, so 4 runs on 3 hits. There have been 2 errors here in this inning. It's been a nightmare start for Florida, but best case scenario for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Coming off their highest ranked series win in about 8 years. It's number 2, Oklahoma. Stays high, 1-2. Former Mississippi State Bulldog Salem Hawkins.
And a win like that, Kyle, just makes you walk differently. Whenever you can beat a team that's ranked as high, that just is so highly touted, like Oklahoma, built a legacy. Makes you walk with a chip on your shoulder. Walk around knowing that you beat a top team, not just once, but 2 times, and against their ace at that, and Sam Landry.
Patrick Murphy's team looking for their first road SEC Series win. Series wins against Georgia this year, at home against Oklahoma. And ironically, on the flip side, as you look at Patrick Murphy, 6-time SEC Coach of the Year, the Gators have not won an SEC Series in this ballpark yet. Popped up out of play. Both teams looking to find momentum as the Gators try to hold on to what they hope at season's end will be a top 8 seed and hosting a super regional, and Alabama can certainly play themselves into that mix. That hits Hawkins with first base open. Gators don't have anybody getting warm in that pitching lab, so that's the second hit by pitch of the inning, and things just not going well here for Rothrock. Bases loaded, 1 out, and the 9th batter to the plate is going to be Kristen White. Control continues to be an issue here for the sophomore Rothrock as Kristen White takes a strike. 9th batter to the plate, and we have Audrey Vandegrift on deck.
I almost looked at it as a blessing in disguise.
White slaps this in the air and a foul ground. Does Giles tag? Otis makes the catch. Good throw. That'll hold Giles at third. Big out for Rothrock, and there's 2-way, but now you flip the lineup back over here to Audrey Vandegrift. 2 outs and the base is juiced.
You talked about their numbers and how they made a jump from last year to this year. And talking to Bro, she mentioned that it had a lot to do with Vandegrift and who she is as a person, but also as a player and what she's capable of doing. Came into Alabama just wanting to do whatever for her team, whether it be in the bottom of the lineup, which is where she started, but quickly after they realized that she was their true leadoff. But been able to work on their timing, their foundation, to be able to put it all together because they know what they could do, but it was about the application. But Vandegrift has been a huge part in those numbers jumping this year.
A 1-1 is line past Cahalan all the way to the corner. 1 run scores, 2 are in as the throw is cut off and the base is clear as Hawkins also comes in to score. Vandegrift clears the deck here for the Tide, and it's 7-0 in the first.
Vandegrift just keeping the ball rolling. Another pitch left over the heart of the plate. Took this oppo almost just like she did last at bat. Clears the bases. I mean, if I'm an Alabama Crimson Tide, I'm just elated with how this first inning is looking.
Absolutely shocking start to this series. 7-run first inning. Already 2 hits in this series for Audrey Vandegrift. You don't see many innings like this in this series history.
You don't, but truly, I feel like this is the time, or maybe a little late, to pull Rothrock, in my opinion. I understand leaving your ace in to try to get some of those kinks out, especially after the hiatus that she took, but right now, as you mentioned, her control is a little bit sporadic.
I think we're going to get to a pitching change as we do have, I believe that's Olivia Miller getting warm in the pitching lab, and they will go to the lefty. So Keegan Rothrock just did not have it in this start. Shocking start to this series. 7 runs in here in the first inning, and the Tide are not done quite yet. An All-American, a pitcher that helped bring the Gators to a World Series semifinal. Gets taken out, only 2 outs recorded. Olivia Miller jogs in out of the bullpen.
Before we agree that a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, I'm going to need to know a little more about these birds.
Jersey Mike's meets Mike's Extra Hot Honey on the new Mike's Hot Honey Chicken Cheesesteak. Jersey Mike's Freshly Grilled Cheesesteak, Mike's Honey. Jersey Mike's Pepperoni and Melted Cheese, Mike's Honey. Mike's. Dale, the new Mike's Hot Honey Chicken Cheesesteak for a limited time only at Jersey Mike's.
Alabama, a 7-run first inning, not done yet. 2 on here with 2 out. And Olivia Miller, Alicia tries to stop the bleeding and get out of this top of the first.
A little bit different look from the lefty and Miller. Only 25 2/3 innings this year. Gonna throw in the low 60s. Likes to stay low in the zone with the curveball on both sides of the plate, but you'll see a lot of her changeup. She likes to use it early. She likes to use it often. Hopefully stop the bleeding within this Alabama lineup.
Here's Keegan Rothrock. Again, runners on base, still her responsibility. I think there's a lot to the mental side of what she's going through right now, as opposed to also the physical. She took a month off from not pitching with that undisclosed injury, and we're hoping to get her back to form, but just has not looked right since coming back, especially in SEC play. Brooke Elstad will hit now. And now the lefty Olivia Miller is going to have to chew up some innings here for the Gators. This is the 12th batter to the plate here in a marathon first inning.
Sometimes not everything goes your way. Sometimes you're going to have bad games.
Nice backhanded pick by Walt.
A little bit there, but it's a little bit more sparse than her going north and south in the zone.
Was tremendous in game 2 of that series against Oklahoma. Meanwhile, Kendra Falvey in this offense, they have a lot to make up here. They're just underway in the home first inning. Now, Alicia, let me ask you this. Does it change your approach in terms of aggressiveness? Because now you have to piece things together, get base runners. You need crooked numbers. You're still early in the game. As first the 3-0 to Falvey is a strike. You change it all, your approach here, down 7 runs right out of the gate.
Well, typically, Coach Vaughn likes to take until she gets a strike. It's typically what they do, but I think ultimately...
Falvey slaps this foul.
Ultimately, it might make you a little bit more patient just to hunt those pitches. Sometimes when teams get big leads, they sit back on their heels because they have so much insurance, but I think when you're facing this huge deficit in 7-0, you got to be able to pass the bat. It's not about hitting a 7-run home run, but just about getting on base and having good at-bats and giving your team a chance like Kendra Falvey just did.
Well, that's a start. Full count walk to Kendra Falvey, who's now reached in every single game this year as that continues. They do the clap down the dugout. 46 consecutive games for Kendra Falvey on base. Table setter, as we put it, hitting .463 this year. Meanwhile, Jocelyn Erickson has been on a tear as well. Look at Erickson, her series against Ole Miss. Game 2 and 3, home runs, 5 RBI. Final 2 games of that series. 3 home runs last week. While at times it's been an up and down season for her, Alicia, you look at the numbers, 13 home runs. Last year hit 15, that was a career best. This one gets away, we'll go to the backstop as Falvey will take an extra 60 feet. Having reached now in all 47 games for Falvey. Feeling right now, Alicia, like one of those games we might be here for 4 hours, so buckle in.
I love it. I think that's the beauty in softball is You know, Alabama put up a 7 spot in the first inning, but there's so much game left, and assuming the score stays the same, they'll go all 7 innings, but if Alabama does get one more, it puts them in run rule territory.
Well, a wild pitch now puts Falvey at third. It's not the best start here for Jocelyn Brisky. As the home fans try to find something to cheer about here after that impassioned speech we showed you coming out of break from Tim Walton. Grooved in for a strike, count full.
And you know, looking at Brisky's numbers coming into this game, she's already had 11 wild pitches, making that one the 12th. So that's definitely something I know the Gators are going to try to take full advantage of to advance a base or two.
Payoff is jammed on the handle. Over to third, Elstead fires across to get Erickson for the opening out. Falvey stays put at third. Brisky has a pretty vast arsenal. Fastball, curve, screw, a rise, a drop is her go-to. Has a change as well. Preseason All-SEC. Pitched against the Gators last year in the Women's College World Series. That came in relief. Here's now Taylor Shoemaker. Takes ball 1. Shoemaker was going through it at the plate. One point was over last 19. The last 2, 4 hits and 9 at-bats.
Those ebbs and flows throughout the season are going to sometimes come, but at the end of the day, if no one's going to save you, sometimes you just got to put yourself out of those mental spaces to be able to remember who you are again. You could kind of see that in Taylor Shoemaker. Whenever she was going through that low offensively, she didn't have the same sparkle in her eye. I see it again. Sometimes you just got to be able to just ride that wave. I'd rather be hot going into postseason than maybe in the meat and potatoes in the middle.
Well, Shoemaker, the new record holder for RBI amongst Florida freshmen, still with multiple weekends left. 61 ribbies this year. A 2-2 is a high chopper to second base. That'll bring in a run as Hevelin will go to first. The Gators are on the board here in the opening frame. RBI for Shoemaker, so adds to that Florida record, now 62 ribbies.
That's exactly what you got to do in that position. Less than 2 outs, be able to put a productive out on the board and get your team a run. That's what it's about. I said it before, you can't hit a 7-run home run with one swing. You got to be able to pass the bat, and Shoemaker did a good job of that last at bat.
Brings in now Corby Otis, team captain, who was going through it in the month of March, around 216 in that month, and has been great here in April. 12 of 29. Count 1-1. Hits in 8 of her last 9 games. This is more of the Corby that we've become accustomed to, and we saw in her first year as a Gator. It essentially was a toss-up between her and Erickson for SEC Player of the Year. High bouncer off the glove of Brisky, trickles towards Hawkins, one hop in time. The old 1-6-3 to first base, and Otis is retired. Gators do get one back in the inning as Shoemaker has RBI 62. And plenty to cheer about here for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Eventually, Jocelyn Brisky will get that mask off of her head there as the final out, the 1-6-3 to bring us to the second. Let's recap that crazy top of the first inning to get this series started. First, you had the E5 from Kenley Cahalan. That was able to bring in a couple of runs, and then the bats really started to come out for the Crimson Tide. They had a total of 4 hits in that inning. Keegan Rothrock finished her start just 2/3 of an inning, just got 2 outs. Gators had to go to Olivia Miller, and Alabama was spotted 7 runs. You see 4 hits in that inning, 2 crucial Gator defensive mishaps, and 2 hits for Vandegrift as well. Alicia, you can't script a better start to a weekend.
You can, and it just looked like they were seeing Rothrock extremely well, finding the barrel, putting it behind the ball, but it also doesn't help when you got 3 hit by pitches, 1 walk, got to be able to control the controllables and put the ball in the corners of the plate, make it dance. But Alabama just going full send that first inning and getting the job done.
Abby Dukeshire leads off. This gets popped up. Olivia Miller says, I'll do it myself for out number 1. 12 batters to the plate in that inning. I just want to get your thoughts, too, on the mental side as a pitcher. So speaking from, I guess, Keegan Rothrock's perspective, you've played this game for a really long time as Valentine will hit / this foul. How do you deal with what is not a good stretch as a pitcher? How do you get through it?
Well, I started this point in the last inning about not always having a great game, not always having a good game, but I think as a pitcher, as a team, as a player, you just got to be good enough.
Loop to right field for a base hit as Valentine is on.
And I think with the injury, sometimes that could stunt that mental growth that you might experience throughout the season, but more importantly, SEC play and facing such great competition. I think the mental aspect might be lacking just a little bit, but Keegan Rothrock has proved herself.
Check swing roller, Miller outside the circle. Nice twirl and fire to Walsh. Athletic play from Olivia Miller to get the out. An excuse me swing there from Marley Childs.
I love it. I love a pitcher who can field her position. And not only that, a lefty pitcher who understands the timing of it and doing it while her mask falls off. It's a go-getter.
That's multitasking right there.
It is.
Lauren Johnson eyes a strike. Well, this is a case for Miller. They're going to need her to chew up some innings here, keep it at a 6-run deficit. Gators scored a run without getting a hit at the bottom of the first inning. Olivia Miller's the only Gator in the history of the program to throw 2 perfect games in the same season. She did so last year in her freshman year. The only other team that won during that span was Tennessee in 2007. Just to show the dominance, and you were part of that from Florida's side of things.
And looking back at it, you just got to talk about how elite the pitching was. And not to discredit any of the young women on the field and who play for these teams, but I'm thinking of the Jackie Trainas who won the World Series, the Alexis Osorios, who I was a victim of her rise ball as well. But just so many big-time pitchers, multiple All-Americans on the field, on the mound at one time. It's a hard feat.
Yeah, some of the great matchups, Kelly Barnhill, Montana Fouts. Some of the all-time great pitchers on either side. Mia Williams leading off this frame for the Gators, goes down on strike. So Brisky, a much better start to this inning after she had some command issues in the first, has a opening K here in the second to get the SEC Player of the Week.
That screwball just gets right under the hands of Mia Williams, who's been hot coming off the weekend, but nice pitch. Paint the corner by Brisky.
How about this storyline? Kenley Cahalan playing against her old team. 2 seasons in Tuscaloosa as a member of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Was a starting shortstop for Patrick Murphy. Since transferred. Not the first time we saw a infielder transfer from Alabama to Florida. Skylar Wallace did the same thing as well. And see those 2 seasons with the Tide, hit .290, 61 RBI. This season has had career year in home runs and ribbies. Wonder what the emotions are like for her.
I can imagine that it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but in the best ways. Last year, Kenley Cahalan facing Rothrock with Alabama 0 for 3 in that World Series game.
Cahalan grounds us on 1 bound to Hawkins. Easy play for out number 2.
Said if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah. Cahalan also an Alabama kid, Trussville, Alabama. So making the move to Gainesville. Now it's Reagan Walsh, 2 gone, bases clear after a 7-run first inning. If you missed the top of the first, well, you missed just about everything. 4 hits, 2 errors, 7 runs for the Tide. Take a look at Walsh's numbers. One of 5 players on this Gator team with at least 10 home runs. A 1-0 is line right back to Brisky, makes the catch. So bounces time great that used to play in the uniform. That's Caleb Breaux, who's a 3-time All-American Alabama Crimson Tide. Then you look at Francesca Anea, 3-time All-American in her own right here with the Florida Gators. They had some crossover, played against each other, and 2 all-time greats now from a different vantage point. Once players, then broadcasters, and now coaches.
And in the same year. Both
Yes.
of them, their first years being last year. Fantastic broadcasters, but the amount of knowledge that they have and experience that they have to be able to instill in these younger players. I just talked to Caleb Breaux about the relationship that she has with Vandegrift, being very similar from the left side, so much speed. And Francesca Anea, just her ability to mesh with these young ladies and her ability to just understand them and talk life into them has been a key point for her and the staff.
Salem Hawkins flies out to right for the opening out here in the top of the 3rd inning. As Olivia Miller goes back to work, 8-9-1 due up here for the Crimson Tide. But Caleb Breaux had a lot of success right away as a freshman. And you have the luxury of having that for an Audrey Vandegrift, or the luxury of having somebody like Francesca Anea in that dugout that has done it at a high level. As Kristen White will bunt this foul, and have gone through the trials and tribulations, in Francesca's case, gone through injury, and they're not too far removed from their playing careers. How much does that help as a player?
A ton, especially when you have such talent who not only hasn't been removed for a long time, but they've been broadcasters for years. So they've only learned more with the rule changes, with the culture changing a little bit. But this ball being chopped, Cahalan getting a glove on it. We talked about her switching from shortstop to third base has been really handy over there for the Gators this season.
So Kristen White is retired. Here's Audrey Vandegrift. Had the walk-off on Monday night. Was in the middle of just about everything, as you would expect in that first inning. 3-run double. Had a single to start things off. Had a stolen base against Jocelyn Erickson. Nation leading now 47 thefts, down in the count 0-2.
I watched one of her interviews, and she's extremely humble, but she talked about her swing and how she changed it going into her senior year of high school. Instead of stepping, you'll see her kind of lift up the heel of her foot and shift her weight and be efficient in that way without moving her eyes too much. Her ability to stay calm and be able to see the ball a little bit better.
Waits on the off speed right to Williams, and a 1-2. College softball, the Rhodes House. You played there a bunch in your time.
You could see it through the screen just how electric the fans were, and that plays into how you play, whether you know it or not. Give energy to the fans, fans give it back. It just makes for a great experience.
Place packed out, as you'd expect. Saw some Alabama fans getting in line early. 0-2 count here to Gabby Comia, getting the start at shortstop tonight. Hoists this into a vacant gap in left center field. That'll dunk down for a base hit, cut off by Vandegrift. As Comia, unique role getting the start at shortstop, and Riley Holtorf batting right behind her will be the designated player. So for Florida, that's their second leadoff base runner against Jocelyn Brisky.
Comia is one of the players that has worked her way into the everyday lineup, whether she's starting at shortstop or being a DH on the day. It's what it's about. When you come in as a pitch hitter, your ability to create more opportunities, have good at-bats, whether you get a hit or not, but get the job done. Gabby Comia has been one of those players that has just made her way in there and now starting some pretty big games in SEC play.
I just wanted to try something different to Tim Walton in the lineup, and Holtorf's been having some really good at-bats lately, so the idea they want to continue to get her in the lineup, but perhaps change some things defensively. An 0-2, Holtorf stays alive against Jocelyn Brisky. Twice last year, she won SEC Freshman of the Week from Phoenix, Arizona. Also, Holtorf, an Arizona native, takes high. Well, it's interesting. I watched an interview, a podcast, Crimson Drive, hosted by one of my good friends, Roger Hoover, and talked to Jocelyn about maybe staying within Arizona for collegiate softball. This is drilled foul, but she wanted to get out of Arizona. She said, I'm very much an independent person. Alabama was the second call that Brisky had got in her recruitment when that window had opened up. Right away, she wasn't necessarily that interested off the top, but eventually took a visit and knew that T-Town was the place that she wanted to be. Montana Fouts was her host on the visit. Holtorf here waits on a changeup, bounces foul.
Life just is so interesting. When I took my visit to Florida, I was alongside Montana Fouts as well.
That's right, yeah.
Gotta
Montana Fouts on campus here. That's usually the case, right? These two programs, they fight for the same players. One, two. Inside out, jam job towards first as Dukeshire steps on the bag. Comia moves up 60 feet.
And you'll see that quite often. You got Brisky, who's throwing gas today, by the way, hitting 70 on the clock. Have her down here at 68. Can mix it up a little bit. Throw that drop ball at 68, that rise at 66. Sometimes you see 72 there. Sometimes pitchers will take a little bit off of their pitches in order to make it dance just a little bit more. I throw my hardest pitch at 67, but my rise ball is going to be in the lower 60s. So you'll see that quite often with different pitchers in the league.
What was the hardest pitch for you to get a handle on? Was it the down pitch as a hitter, or was it the upspin?
I think whenever you look at any pitch that has vertical separation, up or down, it's truly hard to hit, especially if it's true, because your depth perception kind of gets messed up because you can't see whether it's wiggling, east or west. But for me specifically, I don't ever want to face a lefty pitcher who throws a good curveball. I'm good. I'll sit this one out.
That's outside, 2-2. Chopped at home plate. How about the pace that Kendra Falby's on? Nobody in the country amongst active Division I players has scored more runs or has had more hits. 300 got trapped over there. That run will be allowed to score, and the Gators now trail 7-2. Falby down to second.
You mentioned Falby and how many hits that she's accumulated this year and throughout her career. Well, it's because she just has so many different tools. You see Brisky here miss throwing this ball. It just gets, almost looks like it went into the dugout or got stuck behind a mat. That allowed Comia to come in and score.
Yeah, because Comia was on second, she does get that extra 60 feet. She would have been on third regardless, so she is allowed to score, and Falby moves up to second. Brings in now Jocelyn Erickson as the Gators try to chip away. High bouncer to the right side. Nice snag on the shortstop, on the short hop from Hevelin on to first, and Falby down to third. That's where we saw her in the first inning. So Erickson now 0 for 2. Brings in now Shoemaker. They're going to give Falby a single on that line drive back to Brisky. You know what? You take it if you're Kendra Falby. I get once you drop it, you're thinking of the speed, and that enters your mind if you're Brisky. Eric Collin remains clean here for the tie.
That's interesting.
You take
I think
it.
there was 2 errors on that play.
Yes, there was. Because I think one has to get awarded for Falby to be allowed to go down to second. 2-0. 2-1.
Had a lot of conversation surrounding the rules the last 2 games I've called out here.
Now they will say there was an error. They just haven't put it on the board yet. It is a Falby single, but an E1 allowed Falby to move down to second. Count now 2-2 here to Taylor Shoemaker, who brought in that run from third her last time in the first inning on an RBI groundout. Doesn't have that luxury here with 2 gone. The walked, hit by a pitch. What have you seen, Alicia, from Olivia Miller to steady this game after Rothrock was taken out after just 2/3 of an inning?
Well, I was looking at the score, and they have not scored since Olivia has came back in.
Off the end of the bat to Williams, 1 away.
I say back in, but relieved Rothrock. Again, a different look from the left side. Doesn't throw as hard as Rothrock, but she's also doing a good job at keeping the ball on the corners. We talked about that backdoor curve. That's exactly what she just threw to Hevelin. Got her to kind of lean over and just get the end of the bat for a ground out. And again, that off speed that she throws, that changeup we mentioned as well. And you can have speed variety, but also bend the ball and hit your spots. It's going to be pretty tough to catch up.
Now Brooke Elstad will hit. 1 ball, 1 strike. When hitless in that Oklahoma series, 0 for 1 tonight.
And if you're Olivia Miller as well, take a look at the pitching lab. Got a few people out there now, but if I'm Olivia Miller and I step on the mound, I got to think, if not me, then who? Bama's already put up a 7th spot in that first inning. Got to look at it from a perspective of, like, I got to shut this team down. I got to be able to put my team back in the dugout, be able to give them a chance. And I think she's done a really good job at staying calm, cool, and collected. And every time I see her on the mound, she does have this aura about her. She's always poised, no matter what the outcome of each at-bat is.
Yeah, with Keegan Rothrock being gone for a month, there's been an ability to grow that depth. This is line right to Comia, makes the catch for out number 2. You look at it, after giving up a single to Riley Valentine, that is now 7 consecutive retired for Miller.
And Comia flashing that leather. Freshman at shortstop. But I think, to your point, Kyle, about Rothrock missing those games, a blessing in disguise. I mean, not with her injury, but just to allow a little bit more experience for Oxley, who also missed part of the season, but for Olivia Miller, for Ava Brown, and for Kara Hammock to be able to get some more innings. But now you got to take into account at what expense, because now you have Rothrock back in the circle, who doesn't look as hot as she has in the past. But I said this earlier, she's already proved herself. It's just about coming back and remembering who she is and being able to come back even stronger. Sometimes that mental aspect of the game can take a way bigger toll on you than the physical aspect of it, but she's gonna do it. Do it now, right? Not when it matters the most in postseason.
2-1 now to Abby Dukeshire, and that's the thing, that, you know, if you hope that depth is able to find some consistency behind her, that she gets right by postseason play. Dukeshire unloads down the left field line, and that twists foul. Abby Dukeshire from Kindred, North Dakota. It's popped back and forth between this cleanup spot. It's at 5th as well. Did that during the Oklahoma series. Just 225 entering an SEC play. Count now full. Average way up this year for Dukeshire. At 257 last year. And this year came in hitting 315. Part of that renaissance that we mentioned for this Alabama offense. They had their toughest season in terms of batting average a year ago. Miller is ready. Stays alive, count full.
I like it. Olivia Miller giving her a long strike behind the left field line, but then going back in after a ball in the dirt on the outside corner. Just shows you how unafraid that she is when she takes the mound. She'll be able to close the door now with two outs.
Miller has retired 7 straight. This one will scurry out of play. Ducher also 1 hit away from tying her single season career high in hits. 34 knocks this season. She's hit 7 home runs. Signage over the left field wall. Scorbiotis stands in and will take a strike. And before Oklahoma arrived in the SEC, all of the national championships in the league belong to these 2 teams. You see the legend Patrick Murphy, over 1,300 wins.
You can't mention a World Series title without mentioning the pitching coach for the Florida Gators, Coach Stefan Brankel Prothro, and what she's been able to do for that program and the pitchers that she's developed and their success. We talked about the Montana Fouts and the Jackie Trainas, the Sydney Littlejohns and Osorios, and now she's able to flex her muscles a little bit with this Florida staff coming from Memphis last year as the head coach for 2 years.
Patrick Murphy, nearly 3 decades as head coach. Slow bouncer up near the first base line, and Ducher will tag out Otis for out number 1.
Otis trying to do the hokey pokey.
We saw that
around the plate with
in the Arkansas series with Jocelyn Erickson and Courtney Day. We see Patrick Murphy, over 1,300 wins as Alabama head coach, one of 7 coaches to do that in just 1 stop at the D1 level as Williams swings through strike 1. There's Tim Walton. He's been to 12 World Series, including last year. Both these teams reloading after last season with big needs, although they got to the final destination in OKC. Williams chases up the ladder. Brisky now has gotten into a groove.
Brisky just owning Mia Williams in the last 2 at-bats with 2 strikeouts on a screwball, now climbing the ladder off of a drop and a change with that rise ball, just making it dance and making it look easy.
Gahalen jolts this in the air to
and flyouts based off of how well she mixes those pitches up and keeps other teams on their toes.
Second-year Gator from Orlando, Florida. Originally had signed with Ole Miss and flipped, came here to Gainesville. Gators were in desperate need of pitching last year with some injuries heading into the spring. Riley Valentine leads things off here for the Tide. Nothing but zeros over the last 3 innings after that 7-run first.
And Olivia and I actually had the same pitching coach growing up, which I think is really interesting. And then also Caitlin Oxley, who's in the dugout, all from Central Florida.
Pretty good pipeline.
Pretty good pipeline. Talk about her poise. You can see her taking a deep breath. Creating a routine and sticking with it, I think, is so important. As an athlete, give yourself some normalcy, some calmness within the chaos that this game can bring sometimes.
So a couple of appearances in the Texas series, the Arkansas series as well. Pitched 1 inning over the weekend at Ole Miss. Comes set on a payoff. Valentine scorches this right center field, tailing past Falvey to the wall. Riley Valentine scoots into second and slides in with a double. 2 high school teammates with Jocelyn Erickson and Riley Holtorf. And Sandra Day O'Connor in Phoenix, Arizona. Marley Giles now stands in. Count now 0-2. Giles platoons with Valentine behind home plate. DP tonight. RBI single in the first. This gets away from Erickson. Not sure if there was a cross-up. So Valentine heads down to third.
Might have been a missed pitch. I think it just tips her glove. She didn't get her thumb under that ball to expose her pocket because she was set up on the inside corner. Uncharacteristic of Jocelyn Erickson behind the plate, the Gold Glover.
We've seen some of that defensively from the Gators this year. With 2 errors tonight, they now have 39 on the season. As Miller nears 50 pitches, there's Tim Walton. His bobblehead day is going to be on Saturday. I actually got one of my own.
When did you get one?
I had it sent up.
I'm still waiting on my my stuffed gator.
That's right.
From a few weeks ago, maybe even a month or 2 ago.
The first 500 fans on Saturday are going to get a bobblehead Tim Walton. He's got the Jordans on as well. Runner at third, nobody out. A 2-2, does this get the job done? Fairly shallow, runners already off the bag, so Valentine will not tag up. Not deep enough to get in a run as Giles is retired. Brings in now Lauren Johnson.
Valentine originally staying on the bag just in case that ball was hit far enough to be able to get an RBI, get a run in, but since that ball was so shallow, she got off the base just in case Falby missed it.
Off the handle, Miller looks back the runner, so now the Gators can move back that infield a touch, play relaxed with 2 outs in the inning. And Olivia Miller trying to pull off the Houdini act after a leadoff double.
Talk about the missed hits that she does get. This ball just zipping into her hands. Olivia Miller fielding her position really well, able to get an out, keeping Valentine at bay at third base.
So now the infield can play back here for Ceylon Hawkins, who's been hit by a pitch and flown out to right.
Everybody playing pretty true as far as the defense goes.
Also a Phoenix native, Ceylon Hawkins, the everyday shortstop, former Mississippi State Bulldog. Last year went 4 for 8 in a series with a home run against the Gators. That was in Starkville. Quickly down here, 0-2.
Miller with the ability to play around with the count now that she has a little bit more leverage with 0-2.
This one hit Hawkins. And that might have been best case scenario, because if that gets past Erickson enough and Miller is late to cover, that might bring in a run from third. Instead, it's a dead ball. And now Kristen White is going to be pinch hit for here in the 9th spot.
I think best case scenario, but with 0-2 count and with how Alabama's been looking at the plate, granted, she's been holding them down, but with 0-2, you got to be a little bit better with your spot. Be able to get that run out. Now 2 runners on. The ability for Hawkins to now steal at second base, the run around third in scoring position.
Well, Kennedy Marceau is now going to hit. 2 at-bats in the Oklahoma series, did not have a hit, and perhaps now Tim Walton going over the scouting report here. 6th straight game for her, appearing in a pinch hit spot. Hitless in her last 8 at-bats. Perhaps going over that scout right now for Marceau. Big spot in this game. You know, a 5-run deficit for the Gators is doable. They're running out of outs here, but you get 1 more run here for Alabama, and Brisky's locked in on the flip side of things. That might just be enough.
Brisky's been looking phenomenal this afternoon and what she's been able to do. But I think it makes it a lot easier when you've got a ton of insurance, ton of Allstate on the board. Just the ability to be able to take that weight off your shoulders and throw a little bit more comfortably knowing that you have such a great lead.
You see the Gators have hit 4 batters tonight. They came in 15th in the SEC in that number. Now hit 43 as a staff. Big spot here for Kennedy Marceau. Takes the first one low. Former Louisiana Gatorade Player of the Year, PGF All-American. And for her, her last hit came March 11th. So you can hear this crowd did not like that ball 2 call. Hit by pitch, a double. Runners at the corners on a 2-0. Strike 1. Alabama's won the last 2 series here in Gainesville, 2022, 2019. Can they do it again in 2025? Bouncing ball, 1. You know what's interesting? You look at the trends of the series for Alabama. They have only won a game 1 in a 3-game set once this year. Game against Mississippi State. They wound up to lose that series 2 of 3. You see Patrick Murphy, team trending in the right direction at the right time for sure.
We talked about how they jumped in numbers offensively, average skyrocketing, and how they did that. But this past weekend, facing Oklahoma, this pitching staff has just been phenomenal.
Walsh flares his short left field, drops in for a base hit, as Hawkins could not make the catch. And Reagan Walsh on with a leadoff base hit.
And only the 3rd hit off of Brisky today, doing just enough. And Reagan Walsh, you don't have to be good. I mentioned you just have to be good enough. Got jammed, but she's so strong. She's just able to muscle that ball and get it in no man's land. But I talked about this pitching staff and talking to Caleb Rowe, and she said, you know, the pitchers who are spearheading the staff and Brisky, but also in Riley, they've been good at different points in different series, but never at the same time. And I asked her, do you think this is a turning point for the staff, for everything to be fully complete? And she said, absolutely.
Kylie Shaw pinch running now at first. Yeah, momentum is a real thing in sports. When you beat the number 2 team in the country in front of record crowds over the weekend, it can jolt you moving forward. Runner takes off, throw down. Nice backup from Hevlin. Runner now in scoring position. Wanted to amend that note too on the game 1 of the series. The win they actually had was in game 2 of a doubleheader, so Alabama's not won game 1 of the series yet in a weekend. So that one getting away. Scamilla taps this foul, remains 1-2. A chance to buck that trend here tonight for Alabama. Right now up to the freshman. After a leadoff single from Walsh. Rolled over, stays fair. Dukeshire tags out the runner. Shaw heads down to 3rd.
A productive at bat by Comia, just as good as a bunt to be able to move Shaw over to 3rd base. Another runner in scoring position. It's getting down to the wire, but as long as there's an out left, these teams are going to grind it out. And I think I said it earlier, that's the beauty in softball. It's not like basketball where if you get a big lead, it's going to be extremely hard to be able to come back. In softball, you're able to chip away and get runs as the game progresses. And you're able to come back even if it's just in 1 inning.
Well, it's 2-0 here to Riley Holtorf. Holtorf, first-year Gator, former Washington Husky. Hot shot off Hawkins. That'll bring in a run as Shaw scores. Holtorf comes through, and the Gators get one more back, now 7-3.
All the excitement and energy in the dugout. Nice hit by Holtorf, staying the course, getting that foot down on time, and a hot shot, like you said, to Hawkins, not able to handle that ball.
And that's also with the infield playing in, too, so it makes that much tougher of a play for Salem Hawkins. And here is pitching coach for the Tide, somebody that you know really well, Lance McMahon.
Yeah,
His third year.
Lance, in the absence of Stephanie Van Brakel-Prothro, came on staff, but I had the pleasure of being coached by him in my second year pro for the Chicago Bandits, so learned a lot from him, and also a great arm for Live BP.
Yeah. Started out way back when he was a student manager at Missouri. As Kendra Falby now hits, will take a strike. Grad assistant at LSU, and that you mentioned was an assistant coach, the MPF, Chicago Bandits, summer of 2019. And after a stop at Illinois, he stepped into pretty big shoes. And has done a tremendous job with his staff. You think last year, Kayla Beaver and what she was able to provide, and you know, with her since graduating, they had to replace a big void in that pitching rotation.
And I remember
2-1 now.
I remember talking to Montana Fouts about Lance, and she spoke so highly about just who he is and how he relates and his expectations.
How about this? Some of the stars at the top of the lineup, Vandegrift and Falby. This is slash foul. I would love a foul line to foul line race. Kendra Falby and Andre Vandegrift. Track star speed for both.
Vandegrift actually used to run track and credits it to the speed that she has and takes a lot of pride in that as well.
Meanwhile, big secondary lead from Holtorf. Almost got backpicked there.
Probably don't want to do that right now with one out. And Kendra Falby up, the leader in hits on this team.
Well, it's a payoff, and that's taken high. 2 on, 1 out. And now Jocelyn Erickson, looking for her first hit of the weekend, has grounded out twice, coming off that red-hot series in Oxford. Can make this game all so interesting with one swing. First to a Gator captain in the dirt. There are a couple of arms getting warm. See Caitlin Riley along with Ailey Johnson, two right-handers for Alabama. This somehow goes sideways for Brisky on a 1-0. Lost the zone a bit here in this inning. You see the two arms, Riley and Johnson. Riley coming off an outstanding Monday night start. Career high 136 pitches for her. And you saw it right on the camera there. Riley's getting set to come in, swing that door open, and will have to enter in with a 2-0 count on Erickson. Patrick Murphy will call his bullpen, and Caitlin Riley, the vet, former Ole Miss Rebel, will head to the circle when you come back. The reigning SEC co-pitcher of the week, Caitlin Riley. First year as a member of the Crimson Tide. Alicia, what do you got on her?
Well, she had a phenomenal outing, only giving up one run in 13.1 innings pitched over the weekend. Gonna throw mid to high 60s, but what she's known for is her off speed. She mixes them extremely well, has a ton of finesse with that off-speed curve, that off-speed rise, and then she'll come right at you with that hard drop.
You see the line not complete yet for Brisky. 4 1/3, 2 walks, 2 Ks, allowed 2 earned runs. Had really good stretches in her start. Can Riley get her out of this trouble here? Enters in with a 2-0 count to Erickson. You have a timeout. Hawkins, something with her glove, I believe, out at shortstop. She's tying up her glove over there.
I tell you, infielders are very particular about how the glove feels, the laces on it, and all things leather. It's
Comes
gotta be
in.
right.
Alicia pumps in a strike right away.
Well, she's a gamer. Career high 5 strikeouts that last outing against Oklahoma. And you talk about this team just walking differently after that series win, and you can see it here. She's ready to go. Gets the ball, turns around, touches the chalk, comes back.
Count now full, so a giant pitch coming up here. Dandridge, Tennessee, grew up 30 minutes east of Knoxville. Caitlin Riley spent her entire career up until this at Ole Miss. Erickson swings through it. How about that for Riley? Comes out of the pen, gets a giant strikeout for out 2.
She started with something hard, came in with that off-speed rise, but then paired it and spread with that drop ball that's just so dirty, so heavy, so hard to see. And Jocelyn Erickson was tricked.
You mentioned that series against Oklahoma, not just Monday night, but game 1 of that series was stellar in 5 2/3. Shoemaker takes the first 2 off the plate, 2-0.
I just love how she's about her business. You can see it in just how she carries herself when she gets the ball.
Now you have to think here, even for Shoemaker, this is a giant red light. Down 4 runs and a 3-0 count. Well, green light it is to second base.
No, but I think one thing that she's worked on is her mental game and being able to have that confidence when she steps on the mound each and every time.
Audrey Vandegrift leads this thing off here in the 6th. 6 outs away are the tie from a game 1 victory. Right in the middle of that big 7-run first was the star left fielder. And the issue for Kara Hammock has been not hitting the zone at times, and Olivia Miller hit the zone tonight. No question about that. Just under 60 pitches, everything the Gators needed. As this will be a 4-pitch walk here to Vandegrift, and you'd have to think she will take off at some point.
Last time she did take off on the first pitch. The ball beat her there, but it was Gabby Comilla who I think was looking at Vandegrift a little bit more than the ball in that moment and took her head off and kind of misplayed it a little bit.
Where's that nice oven mitt, too? Protect her lead hand on that slide.
Just in case she's got to take a bun out the oven after the game. A big sourdough trend within the softball community right now. But uses it to protect her hand when she slides. She does slide head first every single time, so it's important that she keeps her moneymakers pretty safe.
Callie Hevlin take one low as Vandegrift stays put at first. One of 2 in the nation with at least 40 stolen bases this year. Kyla Shaw of Oregon at 45 entering the weekend. There's a sprinter stance over at first. Count now 2-2.
And in game 3, it was Hevlin who sent Vandegrift home from first base to give the Alabama lineup their first RBI of the game.
This one is low, but that's ball 3, I believe. It's called back. I thought that was ball 4. The awkward walk back to the box. Callie Hevlin had a tremendous series against Oklahoma and a home run at 4 hits and 9 ABs. Payoff pitch, slapped on the ground. This could be 2. There's 1. Relay from Comilla, just a little bit late. Comilla with everything she had, got that ball to first, but wasn't enough. The out goes 4-6 at second.
And Hevlin hit that ball hard. Mia Williams playing in sort of a shift, had to go to her left to shove this ball right to Comia, and she does. Like you said, she gave it her all. Really bang, bang play. Looked like Hevelin was safe in real time.
Yep, that's safe.
That play is under further review.
Send this to Birmingham. This should be rather quick here. Scott Mayer, home plate umpire. Tatum Stolting at first. You have Alex Leap over at third. This is Alex Leap on the microphone. Here's our best look of what we got in slow motion. Ball is not in the mitt yet. And there you see it. Safe. They're showing it now on the big board here in the ballpark.
The call on the field is upheld. The runner is safe. This is Florida's first challenge.
Alex pretty good on the microphone. He's a natural.
He is. His voice really projected.
Yeah, he's good.
Very stern. But a good call. Hevelin was safe at first base. A really good job at legging that one out. Try to limit the damage to only one out.
Brooke Elstad now will hit. Third Division I stop for her. Started her career at St. Thomas of Minnesota. Played for Jerry Glasgow at Louisiana. Of course, Glasgow getting the Texas Tech job. That changed the dynamic of that program. So here she is now in T-Town. Kimberly, Wisconsin native. Long way from home. Hammock's 1-1. Got a piece at Elstad, 1-2. Bouncer back to Hammock, goes to second for one. Do the Gators get that DP? They do. Goes 1-6-3 for the double play. Does that jolt the Gator offense as Hammock comes in and gets a big double play to retire the side? Nobody left with that DP. As easy as 1-6-3. All started by Hammock. Sun starts to set here at KDC Shoal Presley Stadium. 6 outs to play with for the Gators. For Bama, 6 outs to get for a Game 1 win in this series. That's a postcard. Sun sets off in the distance. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. That'll be Game 2 of this series. Corbiota starts the festivities here in the 6th. For the orange and blue. So looking for her first hit. Has grounded out twice after a really big weekend in Oxford. Caitlin Riley, another inning of work, came in relief in a really tough spot. 2-0 count to Jocelyn Erickson. Gators had a couple of runners on. Got a strikeout and a ground out. Taylor Shoemaker, and there's Jocelyn Brisky who got the start. Side out and fouled away. For Riley, at times up and down. You're here for the tie, but she has kicked it into another gear after that Monday night start. Career high 136 pitches, went the full 8 innings against an Oklahoma lineup and allowed just 1 earned run for that man right there, Patrick Murphy.
And Riley having a career year, with her ERA being 2.22 coming into this game. A few more stat lines that have just only been elevated since her previous 3 seasons.
And for Riley, she thought when she was in high school that she might be a basketball star. She had a growth spurt in 8th grade, but it only got her to about 5'10", where she stands now. So she wasn't tall enough to be a Division I basketball player, and then with softball already in the picture, 8th grade sort of changed that mindset. Otis just got a piece of the off speed.
It worked in her favor. She's now leading the charge for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I'd say she's pretty good.
She's the daughter of a coach. Her dad is the head coach of Jefferson County High School football. Here's a payoff. That's low. Leadoff walk. Corbeotis, who leads the Gators in that number this year, brings in now Mia Williams.
This could be a big inning for the Florida Gators with a leadoff runner on and Corbeotis, who does have speed. Nobody on, or nobody out, excuse me. Mia Williams up to bat.
Williams' first pitch hacked to second for one, turn to first. That's not in time. All started by Elstad at third. Got the leadoff runner, so first pitch hack presents one gone. Exchange the runners at first.
This looks like she was looking for something hard, going first pitch swinging after Risky got her striking out in her previous two at-bats.
Now it's Kenley Cahalan. I think the emotions for her tonight, only she could probably describe what's going through her mind. Softly lines this, nice catch on the line. Hevlin throws to first for the double play, so the leadoff walk. Defense this year has certainly aided the Tide. Abby Dukeshire saying that, I think that clipped her off the instep. Dead ball. Take another look. Just got her on the foot. She did react to it. Tim Walton's going to have a conversation now. It's very close. It's going to be hard to tell either way.
Looked like it clipped the inside of her toe on the second view that we got, but on the first one almost looked like it hit in front of her, but nonetheless, she sold it pretty well.
Yeah. Well, the umpires converse here. Win tonight for the Tide will get them back to 500 in the SEC, put them at 8-8. Also, they're looking for their third SEC Series win. Take another look. It's just going to be impossible to tell. You do have the reaction from Dukeshire.
Bravo.
Yeah. Here's our man Alex Leap back to the microphone.
The call in the field is that the batter was hit with the ball in the batter's box for a foul ball. Florida has elected to challenge that call. The play is under further review.
Now, they say if that hit her in fair territory, or they're just saying it didn't hit her at all. I guess that's what Tim Walton is challenging here, but they have a blown up view they're showing on the video board right now, and it does not look like, it does look like it hit her. Or at least you can't really tell. Indisputable video evidence is that old phrase we always use. Not quite sure you have it there.
It's tough because it's on the foot and the foot is grounded, so typically when a body part gets hit, you can kind of see the either the ricochet or like the recoil.
Even better look. Still pretty fuzzy as to whether that hit that toe or not. Remember, we had that dead ball ruling of the ball.
The ball hit the batter's foot for a foul ball. This is Florida's second and final challenge.
All right, so the call remains the same there. Remember, we had that wonky 30-minute review against Arkansas on that dead ball that was called, or the runner being out that was called as a hitter in fair territory, as Dukeshire shoves it right side foul. I try to get it out of my brain because it was...
No, it was really hard to watch. But I think the announcers did a really good job of trying to also cover the rules at the same time. They got took back to the committee.
So after all that, Dukeshire goes down on strikes. How about Kara Hammock? It's looked pretty good. This is a confidence appearance for her. She struggled of late.
She does a really good job with that drop ball. Her and Riley both throw that peel drop that just comes right out of their hands. They snap it hard and it's was able to go from 12 to 6, top spin going down. Almost like a turnover drop, creating the same spin to get that trajectory. But it looks like a strike, and then it doesn't. And by that time, it's a little bit too late.
2-0 now to Riley Valentine. And for her, she's had herself a night. 2-hit performance, also a sac bunt. Former high school teammates. The catcher right behind her, Jocelyn Erickson, Sandra Day O'Connor. What a team that was. Holtorf, Erickson, Valentine now playing at this level and in this ballpark. Former Texas A&M Aggie. Takes outside, 3-1. What's interesting about Valentine's stories, it's been a struggle offensively in her career. Great defensive catcher. Came over hitting just 200 in her career at the plate. She's had a great night. Payoff pitch, grounded up the middle. Comia to her left, in rhythm. 2 outs. If you're looking ahead for the Gators in the bottom of the 7th, they need at least 4 runs. Walsh, Comia, and Holtorf are slated for now. Here's Walsh. Marley Giles swings at strike 1. When you look at behind Alicia and Keegan Rothrock, who gave up those 7 runs, only 2 of those earned. Not a run given up to the ledger of Miller or Hammock in relief.
No, they've essentially neutralized the whole lineup and been moving the ball around a lot. Olivia Miller going east to west with her curveballs and changing speed, and Kara Hammock a different look going up and down with that rise and drop. So keeping them off balance, different parts of the zone. I'm sure they were preparing for Keegan. Makes it a little bit easier as you step into the box.
The Gators, they need at least 4 runs here in the 7th. They have lone runs in the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th. Out hit 6-4. Something about this ballpark, same with the Rhodes House, getting those final 3 outs are not easy. Riley comes set and fires. Sharply hit right to Hawkins. On to first, 1 away.
And a hard shot to Hawkins at shortstop. It's not an easy play, even though it was right at her, because that ball is bouncing. And she hits it straight on a shot. You got to keep your head down. You see a little bit of hesitancy right when she fields it, but a really good job of keeping her head down and helping out her pitcher and Riley.
Ava Brown now will pinch hit for Gabby Comia. Riley in relief of Brisky went 4 1/3 in her start. 3 runs, 2 of those earned. Gators just need to find a way to get base runners. Only 2 outs left.
Riley's really been finding that strike zone with her drop ball. Gators seem as if they're looking hard and leaving the soft and forcing her to find the zone with it. And she does. An all-speed rise. Really fuzzy. Sometimes when you got a pitcher who's throwing that off-speed rise or curve, it's hard to tell whether that ball's going to stay in place or break.
Brown comes off the bench and rips one into the gap. Ava Brown going for 2, a late turn, the relay. There's a pulse for the orange and blue. Comes off the bat of Ava Brown.
A great decision to pinch hit Ava Brown for Gabby Comia. That drop ball just stays a little bit too fat. Ava Brown, a great effort sending this ball into left center field. seeing what the defense is doing and then taking two, putting her team in a good spot, giving them some momentum. This could be the shift that the Gators need in this bottom of the 7th.
Riley Holtorf had an infield hitter last time. Still plenty of cushion here for Caitlin Riley. If Holtorf reaches, then you start to tilt your head a little bit as Kendra Falby in the top of the lineup looms. Head in the count, 2-1. Kendra Falby, a deep breath, almost meditative in nature as she stands on deck, an All-American season. Strike 2.
More production in the bottom of the lineup today. Only person in the top half who's gotten a hit on the day has been Kendra Falby.
Jaw stays alive on the off speed. Nothing's ever easy in this league. For two of the titans of the SEC. Holtorf takes side, count full now. No real stirring in that Alabama bullpen quite yet. The payoff pitch, Holtorf bounces this just foul of third. Senior against grad student. Two vets of this game. Payoff. This crowd just willing the Gators on every single pitch. There's the rally count. Might have to go inside out though with the count.
The effort is there, Kyle. The effort is there. The 10th pitch of Riley Holtorf's at bat, really fighting off these pitches, both off speed and hard from Riley.
The team captain bounces this along third. That's a fair ball. The throw with a collision is in time. Dukeshire made an acrobatic catch with the runner coming down the line. That was a fair ball. Nice play from Elstad at third. And Elstad make the play, charging in towards home plate.
How about the effort to try to get this ball in fair territory to record an out and stop the momentum from the Gators? But let's also talk about Dukeshire at first base, doing whatever she needs to do, putting her body on the line, literally, to be able to record that out.
After a 10-pitch battle. 5-3 you can put a star next to. As Brown heads down to third. The infield comes in with the lefty slapper with the Gators now down to their final out. Falby, second base. That's booted by Hevlin into center. Gators stay alive. Run comes in. It's now 7-4.
You don't have to be good. You just got to be good enough. And that ball was hit well enough to get Hevlin to make an error. She just swings at this pitch middle in, and Hevlin, that bounce, she just couldn't handle. Kendra hitting and allowing another Gator run to come in. And
well, Jocelyn Erickson gets hit, and Alicia, the tying run, comes to the plate. Now Patrick Murphy's going to say that Jocelyn Erickson might have leaned out here.
A lot of leaning going on today.
Yeah.
With these hit by pitches.
Now we'll see. The umpires will converse because now this will bring the freshman star to the plate as the tying run. What say you, Alicia? Is she really leaning out? I mean, she gets the box so that you see that foot, that front foot.
Alabama is challenging the location of the pitch on the hit by pitch. That play is under further review.
It's interesting because In one of Jocelyn's previous at-bats, there was a ball that was a brush back pitch that was in her wheelhouse that she completely turned around to try to
Now she
avoid
leaning
it.
into that.
You want my opinion, Kyle?
Let me hear it.
I think initially, she was trying to get her hips open, get her body open, to maybe hit that inside pitch, and then realizing that it was coming at her, kind of just left her body there and allowed the ball to hit her, maybe moving an inch or two. But I think at the end of the day, it is her box, and I'm a Gator. I do know how this goes, especially when you're down with a deficit of 3 runs. Somebody hits you, got to take it. Any way to get on base, whether it be a walk, a hit by pitch, a run, a hit.
9-time Erickson's been hit by a pitch this year. This going back to Birmingham. Obviously a crucial call here because the Gators would get the tying run to the plate here with a 14 home run hitter in Taylor Shoemaker, with the tie just 1 out away. Here's the call.
After review, the call on the field is upheld, hit by pitch. This is Alabama's first challenge.
So, this crowd will get loud.
Kyle, this is a moment that Taylor Shoemaker can really come out hot and show the world what she's made of. We talked about the ebbs and flows of this season, but this is a huge moment for the freshman to be able to make something shake.
Strike 1 to Taylor Shoemaker. Nobody as a freshman has driven in more runs in Florida softball history. Swings away, loops one down the left field line, just foul. Now the Gators down to their final strike. A moment shared between Falvey and Shoemaker. One of the many great freshmen in this game that are the future of it. Riley is set. And the pitch.
And Alabama with 6 hits, 7